Those of you who are here and have been here previously, you can tell already the schedule's a little bit different. And so we have a theme throughout the day of who's our neighbor, and we're going to address that in two different ways. One with a panel, and then this afternoon with a presentation. And so we wanted to make sure you had kind of a break, get some sustenance. We thank Anne and Jeanette for preparing the coffee and the cookies. That was very gracious and generous as we kick off today. So a couple of things. I hope you had a chance to meet our guests beforehand, and we'll introduce them in just a second. Most of them are going to be here with us through lunch if you have additional questions. Everything we're doing today will be taped, and so we invite you, if you'd like to watch it at a later time, to share the links with your friends. The link will be on our St. John's Senior Connections webpage. Hopefully you picked up the 3 handouts. I wanted you to be aware of what's coming up. The Goldenrod, I think this is officially Goldenrod, sheet has, you are invited to next month, January 8th. This was a presentation Terry Hotchkin heard. She thought it was wonderful. I think it's a great way for us to kick off our new year, 2026, thinking about your goals, your hopes, and how to get there. And then on the back of that is information about the January 24th estate planning workshop. Most of you have heard us talk about this. It came out of our September workshop. We're opening it to the congregation as well and to our circuit. But I'm looking forward to it as a very concrete, hands-on, let's get some work done towards each of our estates. And then this handout, ways St. John community supports hunger and houselessness here in Clark County. That is a summary. I think that's a good launch pad for our panel. I love St. John. I think St. John is a very loving and generous congregation, particularly in thinking about ways to reach out to the community. And we have a lot of things we are doing that each month it seems like I'm learning something new about what we're doing and championing to serve our community. We're a responsive congregation, and once a year, in August, we have a voters meeting in which we identify mission projects for the next year. And it's always fun to dream about what can we do. We come up with new ideas every year, and our congregation votes to support them. But there's always this nagging question to me of, what are the real needs in our community? You know, I might have a passion for something, but inform me, tell me what's going on in Clark County so that we are being appropriately responsive. And so I came across this survey that is done every year in Clark County. What are the greatest needs of the community? And there are 3 greatest needs in our area, not necessarily specific to our zip code, but within our area. The number 1 issue is hunger. The second is houselessness, and the third is asset development. And so we invited our representatives here, Natalie Aguilar from the Council for the Homeless, to talk about what is houselessness in Clark County, what does it look like, who's working on it, and what continue to be the greatest needs. And she's also going to tie in what's happening with veterans, because that's a large population in Clark County that has needs. And then we have Marcy Walsh from the food bank, the Clark County Food Bank, who's going to talk about both the work the food bank is doing to get at the root causes of hunger and that asset development piece. So we've got the full package here today. We'll leave informed. I'm excited that the Executive Director of Family Promise, Shane Scaff, is with us, and he'll share a few words about their work, something you all know we're committed to here at St. John. I'm hoping you'll have questions. The way we're going to do questions is Anne and Alice will pick up your questions on the yellow pages. They'll come up, read it off after they both do their presentations, and we'll be able to address your questions. So I think that is it for today. At noon, we'll break for lunch in the gym, and then we'll return to the sanctuary at 12:45 for our afternoon presentation. I want to say a big thanks to Roger Hanson, Caitlin, Alice, Ann, Steve, Scott, everybody who helped today, Jim Erickson. It's been a big day, and we've been looking forward to doing this. So thank you for being here. Enjoy. Without further ado,
thank you. And thank you for the lovely foundation and introduction there. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thank you for inviting me for such a warm space. I'm Natalie Aguilar. I'm the Coordinated Outreach Manager with Council for the Homeless. And if you're not familiar or know too much about Council for the Homeless, we are a nonprofit in Clark County that leads our homeless response system as well as our continuum of care, or you'll often hear it as our COC. And we partner with various agencies to be able to do our work and to be able to capture the needs of our community. We at Council for the Homeless have a few departments that focus on various points to making sure that resources are accessible to community partners and also to the individuals that are experiencing those needs. Just to kind of give a little bit of an overview of it, we have a department that focuses on our housing hotline, and that department works with being able to be the phone response system to any intake of participants or even community partners that are calling in and needing support. This department has a high volume of calls, but is very important because as the coordinated entry system, or as the agency that is able to support the coordinated entry system for the homeless response system, we want to make sure that people can call in and communicate with individuals, be able to share what their needs are or what their story is, make sure that they are in our system if maybe they haven't interacted with us before, maybe this is their first time experiencing homelessness, or they're experiencing some kind of situation that may be bringing some insecurity or stability to their housing. It's not always the individual is homeless. Sometimes the individual is experiencing some insecurity because they're behind on rent, or something has happened that is making it difficult for them to pay their upcoming rent. And we want to make sure that if we have any support or program that can be accessible to them, that they can connect with us. And so our hotline receives a variety of those calls, and we are opened Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we are opened from the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and holidays from 11 to 5. We have a great social media that will always post what those hours are if we're on a holiday or if there are any changes. We know that social media isn't always accessible to individuals or to everyone, so we do try to make sure that we have postings on our door, or that we communicate this with community partners or other outreach teams and agencies so that they can also deliver that information. Part of the big focus that our hotline does that really transcends into the rest of our agency is being able to be that first point of contact that receives an individual or a household that is in crisis, and we're able to support them in a person-centered and trauma-informed way. We're able to understand on one-to-one basis what their needs are, how can we support them in that moment. If we don't have the resources or the immediate support, we have great collaboration with partner agencies so that we make sure that we can connect them to those resources or services. And it's important that they know that even though in that moment we may not have the shelter available, or the housing opportunity that they're hoping to be a part of is not available, they know that there are individuals that care and that want to continue supporting them through their journey, despite what the barriers or challenges are. And that piece of work really falls into the rest of what Council does on so many different levels. Our mission being able to be community leaders and being able to advocate and bring sustainable solutions to the community, to the challenges that individuals are experiencing, but also knowing that this is something that we can't do on our own. This is collective work. Collaborations with partner agencies are crucial. It's super important. And we see the work of that evolving and continuing to grow. Even in just the year, just a little bit of background, I've been the outreach manager since July of last year, and I, over the year, have been able to see just how much growth and collaboration, even with people like the Clark County Food Bank, as we see challenges rise in our society and our communities, as those needs increase, as we see that individuals are facing hardships that are becoming more challenging because financial situations may be unstable at home. There are different situations that we encounter, just to give some background, that sometimes as individuals or communities, we think that homelessness looks like something, or that it happened because of this, or because maybe individuals don't care or don't want to be proactive. But as someone who's been out there interacting with so many people, I can tell you that a lot of people had full-time jobs. A lot of people have full-time jobs, and they're experiencing homelessness. And really, it goes to some of the deeper maybe needs of what our community has, and that is being able to have a system of housing that is supportive for individuals that are lower income or that may come across financial hardships and then are placed in a situation that makes their housing vulnerable or unstable. So those are some of the situations that we're finding, and I think that there's always going to be a need and a focus for us to consider and capture what mental health and behavioral health and physical health play when it comes to the well-being of an individual and how well they're able to sustain on their own. And we see that sometimes when vulnerable individuals that have higher needs that maybe don't have as quick access or resources or finances to those services, and some of the things that council can do is be able to at least connect them with those agencies that are committed to the same mission and being able to provide that support for those individuals. The individuals that sometimes fall through the cracks or don't have a support system, we are the support system. People like the food bank are their support system, and the collaborations that we're able to build together is what really helps being able to make sure that we are capturing and supporting our community as best as we can. So our team, my outreach team particularly, is street outreach that is out doing engagement in all of Clark County. So I have a couple individuals that are more focused within the city limits of Vancouver, and then I have a couple individuals that are focused all over Clark County, plus our youth. And these individuals are very similar to a lot of the work that our hotline does, in the sense that we are out there and bringing those services to individuals that maybe don't have phone access or don't have easy accessibility to make it into our office, or just have a much more higher need or barriers to access the services that are needed. So my team is out particularly looking for individuals that are highly vulnerable and being able to connect them with shelter, or being able to connect them with housing if that is an opportunity that comes up. Most recently, we had Lincoln Place to open up, and there's a lot of work that went in from different agencies and different departments and being able to make that all possible. But one of the things that my team was doing was making sure that we were engaging with those individuals that were highly vulnerable so that they could be into housing, especially thinking about winter and severe weather coming up. We want to capture those pieces when we're out doing street outreach. And we're not the only team that's doing street outreach. There are other teams like Lifeline Host team that also does outreach. We have CMAR from CSNW that does outreach. We have Share Outreach. We have Exchange Recovery Cafe. We have the Heart team that focuses within the city of Vancouver. And we collaborate pretty closely with those teams because it's important that we're servicing as much of Clark County as possible, and so we're not duplicating our services and really trying to get those needs met from individuals on as far out as Battleground or maybe as far out as Camas, or making sure that the people that maybe have harder access, again, are being able to connect with us. And a lot of the work that has been happening, because we've been able to really coordinate our approach in that, is we've been able to do some really important work with our veteran population. And roughly right now, we're seeing about 80 individuals that are experiencing homelessness in our veteran population, and that has decreased significantly even over the last 12 months. We are, as a community, committed to reaching functional zero for this population, and what that means is that we have an inflow and outflow that is a balanced system of each other, so that when a person falls into homelessness, they're experiencing it for a brief moment, and we're able to get them back into stable housing as soon as possible. And in order for that to happen, we have to be able to build a system that is going to be able to capture that and also continue that cycle. So that is something that we've been working pretty hard with our veteran population. And again, it is in collaboration with various other agencies, including the VA and including other agencies that maybe are providing veteran services or support that are not necessarily related to housing, but are still connected to veterans. It's important that we're engaging with those individuals as well, because they're capturing people that maybe we're missing or that we're not able to connect with. And so as we continue to make progress in this work, we've been able to, hopefully, our goal right now is to be able to reduce this number in the next year by 50% and be able to have a goal of reaching functional zero within the next couple years. And really, I want to highlight that that comes from a lot of the work that our direct service teams are out there doing, and being able to capture data and having our own team of HMIS at Council for the Homeless that does a lot of data quality and reporting, and being able to really clean that up so that we have as accurate information and as accurate numbers so that we know what we're working or what progress we're making. And seeing how much all of that has grown and evolved, it really inspires us to know that we can do that in other demographics, and that we can support other demographics like our seniors that are experiencing homelessness or our families that are experiencing homelessness. We currently do manage list of vulnerable populations such as our youth that are experiencing homelessness, our chronic individuals that are experiencing homelessness, and again, our veteran population. So being that our veteran population is highly vulnerable, there is a great need there, it was important for us to focus in on this population and do as much work and progress as we could, and then take those learnings and be able to bring that across the board to other demographics as well. We're seeing that our senior population is in need of support just as much as our youth population is. Individuals, again, are having a hard time with valid reasons and being able to sometimes maintain their housing, or maybe making ends meet with even groceries is a little bit challenging. And so wanting to make sure that we are capturing those things and that we can help prevent even some of those individuals fall into homelessness is important for us as an agency, and it falls in line to what our mission is, right? And being able to not to just end homelessness, but also prevent it. We want to be able to catch what are the faults and the gaps in the system that are causing people to fall into homelessness. We're seeing that, we need to have affordable housing for individuals, not just families. Sometimes it's individuals, sometimes it's seniors, sometimes it's youth individuals that are having a hard time. So really looking into how do we create a community that can have sustainable housing that meets the needs of everyone, because everyone deserves a home, deserves shelter, deserves a place to be safe, deserves I'm sure all of us like to go home, and we know that when we turn the lights off and we close our eyes, we're okay. We're going to wake up, and I'm going to take a shower, and I'm going to be able to do my life the way that I do. And so many people don't get to do that. And so many people are just trying to make it to the next day due to survival, due to the crises that they're experiencing. And it's important for, my team, for council, for other agencies, and even the conversations that you guys are having of being able to continue this, being able to continue to educate our community, and being able to continue to inspire on how can we all collectively play a role in this. And sometimes we think that there needs to be structure, or there needs to be policies that brings us together, or that can make us bring greater progress into community. But I think that really it's spaces like this where people are so dedicated and caring, and that these individuals are your neighbors. They're not just some random person. Some of these people have lived here their whole lives. They grew up here and they faced some hardships. Life got tough, and they didn't have the support system to be able to overcome those things. And so how can we now as a community come together and say, hey, we don't want to let these individuals continue having to feel like they have to do it alone. If we can be a support system, if we can be a community for them, how can we show up? And really, sometimes it's a cup of coffee, it's saying hello, it's acknowledging the person, it's asking, do you need help? Would you like me to connect you to services or help you connect to services? It's, do you know about Council for the Homeless? Have you ever connected with them before? Simple conversations, and just the way that you show up and engage with those individuals and give them time and care. I think that that's super important. And it's not just those agencies or nonprofits that are doing the work. It's really community. And even though I work for an agency, I don't stop being a community member. I'm still a community member, and it's important for me to show up equally in both of those spaces for the care of what my community needs. So,
Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you. Well, I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm pleased to see all of you here. So thanks for being here. My name is Marcy Walsh. I'm a program director at Clark County Food Bank. And I always want to start with our mission and vision, because our mission is to alleviate hunger and its root causes, to get us to the vision that will inspire a network of community health. And it really does describe what we do and how we do it, because we have a very large network within Clark County. So if you see on the slide, this is I think last year's numbers on people with food insecurity just in Clark County. And we work towards alleviating the hunger in all of those areas. So starting with our food program, thank you. We've been around for 13 years now, and for 12 and a half of our 13 years as Clark County Food Bank, we've been really focusing on alleviating hunger and creating our network of partner agencies and getting food all around Clark County and identifying where pantries need to be and things like that. What we haven't been really focusing on as much is the root cause side of things. So I've divided into both of my slides into both of those areas. On the food side, last year we received over 10 million pounds of food, and that comes from various areas. We get it from donations, we get it from the federal government, we get it from the state government, we get it from from Oregon Food Bank, because we're a partner agency of them since it's closer than Olympia. We also get food from Olympia, but we get a large percentage of our food from grocery recovery programs, Fresh Alliance. So we have volunteer truck drivers that go out every day, sometimes twice a day, go to the grocery stores, and they pick up hundreds and hundreds of pounds of food per day that we can bring back to the pantry, and we have a team of volunteers that then repack that food, because it's perfectly fine food. It's just something that either the sell-by date is there, or they have a large inventory of that food, and it's perfectly good food that they repackage, that goes into our inventory and goes out to our community partners within 24 to 48 hours max. They go out in refrigerated trucks so that it stays refrigerated and good from start to finish. These numbers show the direct distribution that we, Clark County Food Bank, do. So we have 2 pantries that we staff, one in Fruit Valley and one in Walnut Grove, just 2 buildings down from our main building. And those are the numbers that we have going out through our pantries. We also have Food Bank Fresh, which you all participate in the summertime. It's a pop-up food pantry that we do in the summer that is very important because as the schools are closed, a lot of the kids and families don't get the food. And then we have an emergency food box distribution as well, where people can call up, and it's a short-term program that is becoming longer term with each passing day and week. But we get the food out just for ourselves. Thank you. You're welcome. So on the next slide, you will see our partner agencies. So we do our work, and then we also partner very closely with 50-plus partner agencies, and they include food pantries and hot food sites and special service sites. So those would be some of the school pantries that we do. Those would be Fish and Share and places like that. If it's labeled as a food pantry, that means it has to be a no-barrier food pantry. All of our food pantries, there's no requirement. We don't look at IDs. They have to sign some forms that are federal and state so that they can kind of track pounds of food. But we ask for a name, a birth date, and an address. We don't ask for any identification to connect that with. It just allows us to keep individuals apart. So that all of that large group goes out throughout all of Clark County, is going to Washougal and Camas, going up to the North County and things like that. So we're always assessing if there are any places that are at risk of shutting down, or where we need to add some new spaces to make sure we don't have any food deserts. And I just want to bring this up. This is the Food Finder is on our website under resources, and in the past year, we just created a new program that it is very, very easy to filter in real time what's open, what the partner agency does. Is it hot meals? How close is it to me? And things like that. So I don't want to take the time to walk through it here, but it's easy to find on our website. And all of our partner agencies can go in real time and update it, which has been the greatest thing, because our piece of paper gets out of date the minute we print it. But this allows, if a refrigerator breaks down or AC breaks down and a partner has to close, they can put it right there. So on any given day, you can get that in real time. So if you know people who need help, you can send them to that. As I said, our mission and vision, our mission is to alleviate hunger and its root causes. And as of this spring, we really turned our focus to root causes. And I was hired to be the program director to build out the programs that address the root causes of hunger. We have a number of different programs that we're doing. One of which, food plus nutrition. So we're calling this Food Plus because we want to make sure people know that we're still doing food. We've been doing food really well, 10 million pounds of food a year over the 13 years that we've been working here. But we want to make sure that we're also doing these other things, so it's not an either or, it's a both and. Food Plus Nutrition is a nutrition education program. We offer free classes, healthy cooking on a budget. We do them at the food bank. We also do them out into the community with some of our agencies and our partners, and bring the food there and bring the class there. Everybody gets a little bit of a nutrition lesson each week, usually a 6-week class. Everybody cooks together. Everybody eats together. And then at the end of the class, you're handed a grocery bag that has all of the ingredients for the meal that you just cooked that day, so you can go try it at home. We have Food Plus Finances, And that is a new program that we're building out. We're currently partnering our pilot programs. We have Fourth Plane Forward. They lead some classes in financial empowerment in Spanish and in English. And then we also partner with Save First Financial Wellness. They also have the same financial basics and credit. And the difference between the two is sort of what the incentive is. So with Fourth Plane Forward, it's a 2-session workshop, and at the end of the second night that they come, they'll get a $100 gift card that they can then use as quote-unquote free money, and it is free money, to start to apply what they're learning in that class. With Save First, they take the class and then they're able to do up to 3 sessions of one-to-one counseling. So each one has a little bit different benefit of it. And we're trying to figure out what our long-term program would be. Food Plus Futures is our workforce development program. And we are bringing in people from some of the agencies who do workforce development. Next Success, they work with people who are 18 to 26 who are not in school and don't have a job. So a very specific group of people. And they send them to us and we provide them with an internship to help them build those skills. And then Next Success also helps build them this work, give them the career support and things like that. We also work with Partners in Career that sort of do it at the older age groups. We have WorkSource Southwest Washington doing table events each week in our 2 pantries that we have, where people can just walk up in the moment and get some career and employment specialists that talk through them. We have English speaking and Russian speaking, and then they can also connect them with all of the WorkSource workshops that go. And they have a very large percentage of workshops that are very helpful. And that's been a huge success. We've seen in the first month of the pilot over 100 people, and that's 2 days a week, in 3 hours a day. So that's been wonderful. And then lastly, we partner with Ren Locus. And Ren Locus is a local nonprofit that does free tax filing for people whose income is below a certain level. And they've been able to recapture so much more money for these individuals who wouldn't know how to get some of the tax credits that they're eligible for. And then lastly, the other program that we're building out is Food Plus Access, which is the resource navigation piece. And in that Clark County needs assessment, it's such a valuable document to read through. When they identified the top 6 or 7 needs in the community, they also talked to the people in the community to say, what's keeping you from getting into those getting those resources? The number one barrier across all 7 of those identified needs is don't know who to call, don't know where to go. With all of the amazing resources that we have here, there's still a large number of people who don't know where to go and don't know who to call. So we're really trying to do a deep dive into Food Plus Access and say, how can we help lower that barrier? One of the things that we want to try, I have 2 AmeriCorps members who talk to our pantry members when they come in. What other resources do you need besides food? You're welcome here. We have our pantries open 5 days a week, and some of our partner agencies on the weekends. What else do you need? And so we're trying to gather that data, and the idea is to have a small resource fair by service needed. So instead of going to a resource fair where you have 20 different services there, and sometimes it can be overwhelming to people, we're trying to have 5 people who do recovery work and let people talk to the people who are on site. So that's coming in the new year. We're working on building that out and just trying to see how that works. To be continued. But again, those partnerships that we do gets us to our vision of inspiring a network of community health. Our nutrition ed team is going to Lincoln Place this month, I believe. We're going to talk about doing some of our programming there. And when we have our vision center, which we have, it's 2 days a week, it's a pantry, and the other 3 days, it's open to the community to do community meetings on site to bring the community to the food bank. So that really gets to our mission and vision. We couldn't do what we do without volunteers, so we have a large number. Last year, we had over 4,600 volunteers to help us do the work that we do, because we work under a very lean staff. So we're very grateful for our volunteers. We always need volunteers. They do a lot of great work. Some of you work at some of the school pantries that we do, and the food comes from the food bank, and shares there with you, and you all are there. We couldn't do it without the volunteers. So thank you to all of you. I've talked to several of you who help do that work. And we'll stop it at that. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Marcy. While you're bringing, Alice and Ann are searching for your questions to bring forward, I did want to acknowledge that we have quite a crew here from the Clark County Council for the Homeless. And if you'd like to stand up and just, at this point, just wave, that would be wonderful. Everybody stand up and just turn and wave. We've appreciated Nika's participation in being with us, and thank you all for being here today. Okay, do you have any questions, Alice? Or while she's gathering your questions, I will go ahead and ask one. What sets Clark County apart? In other words, how are we different or unique from other parts of the state or the country in terms of what our houselessness looks like, our food insecurity looks like, access? Who wants to take a stab?
I like this question because I recently went to Denver for our Built for Zero conference, and we are a Built for Zero community, and we're one of the very many communities in Washington that are also participating in this effort. But I came back just really inspired by our community, because as I learned from other communities and the challenges that they were experiencing, I felt very fortunate that in our community we have an agency that has taken on that responsibility and lead to hold some really important parts of the system. So Council for the Homeless holds our coordinated entry point, which means people that are experiencing housing insecurity don't have to call 5-10 agencies to get to a resource or to try to find if there's shelter available for that night. There's one number they can call, and that is our housing hotline. And that makes it to where individuals can access that a lot quicker, or in a way that is a little bit more efficient than having them re-traumatize every time they go to a new agency. And a lot of communities, don't have that, and it's a challenge for them. And aside from that, we also have the opportunity to hold our COC and our HMIS system. And so our COC is essentially community partners that are committed to housing stability for individuals, or working towards those root causes or challenges that are causing housing insecurity, and they're committed to working together and bringing community together to continue those efforts. And our HMIS system is our data platform that holds all of this information so that we can continue doing the work that we're doing. And a lot of communities don't have this centralized in with one agency or in one location. So all to say, it can create a lot of barriers and challenges for making changes and differences in a system that may have a lot of gaps or a lot of pieces that need to be worked on. And we're just so lucky to be a county that is supportive of these efforts being collective and collaborative. And we're really fortunate to also be an example for other communities in Washington. So I would say that that's what really makes us unique, is just being able to have that.
I would just add anecdotally, I moved here 2.5 years ago from the East Coast, and I'm just astounded at Clark County and the generosity of Clark County between volunteering and food donations and the people who genuinely care. And the other thing that I think really makes Clark County, I think it's unique. I don't have any data to support this, but I would say the agencies like Council for the Homeless, the amount of collaboration that takes place among all of the agencies that are supporting these issues, it's astounding to me. And it's not competition. It is always collaboration, and that's not always the case. But Clark County is such a devoted county to really support the county itself, no matter who you are. It's really struck me as someone who's moved here recently.
So, first question is, what percentage of donations is accounted to directly support people in the need of housing for the council?
Okay. Would you repeat the question, or did you hear it? Okay.
This is
then
council.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
And I'm looking at my favorite people in the audience right now if I don't have a percentage to give. But I can say that there is a lot of strategy and work that goes into being able to make sure that the donations that come in are really an effort to either progress individuals into that housing stability or support them into that housing stability. And there's various pieces that would go into play for that, but your donations or community donations are really important in making sure that if there are any pieces that our programs or the system that we're working with can't capture, we want to make sure that as council and agency can support those individuals to continue to that next step if for some reason parameters of something else may not allow us to do that. So the flexibility of being able to have donations to support individuals in a way that is really fitting to their needs is super important.
The second half of this question here is, what percentage of people we see in areas of West Downtown, like at the open house share, are against being taken from their strong focus of being able to continue their ability to not be forced out of their tent camping?
A lot of those individuals thinking about Share House and the surrounding area, we have a rotation of a number of outreach teams that go out there and engage with individuals. And a lot of those people that you see are engaging with us, are engaging with the system, are up to date as far as like what they can do in regards to placement for housing. And there's a number of people that have difficulty sometimes going into shelter for various reasons. It can be a shelter setting isn't as supportive to the mental health needs or challenges that they're experiencing. Maybe shelter doesn't allow their pets, or maybe they have multiple pets, which can make it a little bit more challenging for them to also be accepted. But the majority of those individuals are hoping to get into shelter and are hoping that an outreach team will come out and let them know when that happens. So when my team is aware, we work pretty closely with the housing hotline, and when we're aware that there's shelter available, my team will go out there, particularly in those hotspot areas where we know that there are specific individuals that maybe should be indoors because they have a wound that they're healing from or some other type of situation. So we engage with them, being able to get them into shelter. And it is very, it happens, but it's very rare when individuals will decline that shelter. It's more the capacity of shelter that we actually have available to be able to support the population there.
So I know of a young woman who is living under a freeway, and she sweeps the whole area under the freeway, so I'm assuming she needs mental health. So how would I be able to contact somebody to go out? Or should I talk to her myself? Or
Yeah, so on our website, there is an outreach referral form that people can fill out, and I'm happy to share directly that link with someone that can maybe share it out with everyone else, or maybe Nika can share that out. But this outreach referral form can be filled out either by a community member or a community partner, and you don't have to necessarily engage with the individual to fill it out. It really can be kind of from, as a concerned citizen, you want to make sure this individual maybe gets the help they need. In that form, you can let me know the location, a brief description of the individual. Maybe you do know their name. You can always add that in there. And that form, when it's submitted, goes directly to my inbox, and I'm able to either have my team respond to it, or I coordinate with other outreach teams so that they can also respond. And then at that point, we can do an intake and assessment on what are the needs of the individual and support them.
Okay, what do you know about panhandlers on the street corners? How legitimate are they? Are they homeless? The Columbian researched the income of local panhandlers. The average was 40,000. Local panhandlers. The average income they found was 40,000 plus a year.
I do a lot of driving because I have to go to different sites often, and when I see individuals out, I always connect with my team almost immediately and have them come out and connect with the individuals. And a lot of times, those individuals are very much so experiencing homelessness, and they are away from maybe their encampment or where they would typically be sleeping at night. And a lot of times we see that they are trying to get whatever basic needs met they have individually. When our team or my team is able to connect with them, we are able to start building relationship with them. And there's been a few individuals that we've been able to get into shelter and then see them have an incline of receptiveness towards services, or maybe more willingness to go into some kind of treatment or detox to continue to work towards their personal goals. So I cannot speak for every single individual that is out there doing it. I think that there are a variety of different reasons that people do it for, but as far as what we're able to do and support is, it's very important for us to engage with them out of curiosity and see if we're able to assist them to maybe engaging in a different way with us so that we can continue to progress them into shelter or housing.
Maybe you addressed this, and I apologize if you already did, but do you keep stats on the number that reject your services?
I don't think that we do, but I will say I can get a rejection this morning, and this afternoon that same person will be accepting of services. So it really varies. I can talk with someone in the morning and they had a really rough night. Someone stole all their stuff. It was all they had. They haven't had coffee, they haven't had food. And I'm like, hey, do you want to go to shelter? Do you want this? Do you want that? And they're gonna be like, no, I'm frustrated. I don't want anything right now, And then I can come give them some coffee. Let's talk again in a couple hours, and they'll be very accepting of that support. So it really varies. Some individuals are really struggling with their mental psychosis or their mental health challenges, and that could come off as someone that maybe doesn't want to do the work or doesn't care, but really they just don't have the right support to know how they can help themselves in that situation.
All right, thanks. Who pays, another question, who pays for cell phones and coverage for homeless people? Is there a program?
There are some actually state programs that if you are on benefits or like Apple Health, Molina, Medicaid, or some type of a health insurance, they will typically be able to support you with that. It's not a long-term service. It usually comes with a time limit or when that's able to happen. We at council, we don't have any current grants or things that could support that type of service. But sometimes there are people in the community that want to support individuals and being able to get that. So we sometimes see that donation happen, or agencies that are able to provide that service for individuals.
Thanks. Does the Council for the Homeless have ability to help people who need legal assistance to understand where they fit into financial support, specifically for those adults, for those who are adults but have designated as a ward, but that ward is taking part of their ward's money for their own benefit? So.
We don't have any legal support from council, but my team has encountered a couple situations where individuals that maybe aren't able to really care for themselves or have other individuals caring for them, and we've been able to connect with case managers or other people from those agencies to kind of get further ahead, but we don't, at council, don't have any like specific legal support like that.
Right. And then my last question here is, what programs are available to upskill or retrain individuals who have lost their jobs due to technology replacing their skill set?
That's a great question. I know that places like Partners in Career and Workforce does a really hard work on making sure that any information or teachings that they can provide to the community are available. We've had some individuals that have had great success in building resumes or knowing how to even fill out those job applications now that, you know, things are a little bit different or our technology is more involved. And they have the ability to have either those workshops or learning sessions for individuals, and it's not exclusive to being homeless. It's really inclusive to the community, so anyone can partake in those workshops. And they have a variety of learning sessions, from computer or technology to resumes or interviews. And libraries are also really great resources for being able to connect to those types of workshops or learnings. I know that they have a variety of things going on there too.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I would just add to that, especially with WorkSource. WorkSource is a Washington State program, and we work with WorkSource Southwest Washington and Workforce. And it's a very complicated system, so I won't try to explain them. However, they offer a wide range of employment supports for a wide range of needs. And they've noticed recently that there are a lot of people who are in tech now who are getting laid off, because with AI, a lot of the long-term tech skills aren't needed anymore. And so they're finding some very high-level people. We had one of our donors who donated every month and called to say she had to suspend it because she lost her job and she thought her husband was about to lose his job, as he was a tech person. And I connected with them, and they're seeing more and more people who have had high-level jobs and now have been either let go or things like that. So there's a wide range there that they can help.
So I had a question. There used to be an emergency shelter phone number. Like when I would be around somebody, I'd call for them because they never have phones. And you had to get on the list, like first come, first serve. Is that still available?
Yeah, that would be our housing hotline, and that opens up at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday, and 11 a.m. Saturday and Sundays and weekends. So if you do come across someone and they don't have a cell phone, that would be the number you want to call. And sometimes what happens in situations like that is they'll say, oh, I'm calling on behalf of someone and they're located at this location. Then my outreach team gets informed of that, and then we can go out also and do an in-person engagement with them.
Okay, now we're going to welcome Shane Scaff to say a few words about Family Promise. And this is a program in which St. John is involved. Shane, let me do that for you here. That St. John is actually involved, and then we'll wrap up.
Good morning. Yeah, it's still morning. So you guys all know Family Promise. We help families that are experiencing homelessness get back into permanent housing. One thing I like to mention about Family Promise and the families that we are helping is, I say that they are the unseen of our homeless population. You typically don't see families out either panhandling or in the tents. So many of our families are experiencing homelessness through couch surfing, or they're potentially have a hotel for a bit, or they're in their cars. So they're not as seen as some of the other populations, but just know that the problem is way bigger than you could imagine. We get over 100 calls from brand new families every single month that are experiencing homelessness, and they're in dire need. I would say, I worked at the Portland Rescue Mission downtown Portland on First and Burnside. At the men's shelter there, we're the only 24-hour bathroom that was supervised. And I worked there at night. So I firsthand saw what homelessness truly looked like, a broad scope of it. But at the same time that I worked there, I was volunteering for Family Promise for my local church up in Battleground. I started doing that in 2019 when we started Family Promise of Clark County. So as a volunteer, I noticed the difference between the work that I was doing with individuals and the families that I was helping as a volunteer with Family Promise. And the number one difference was they had children. They had children under the age of 18, and that meant that the parents had something to fight for. So they absolutely would do the work necessary to work towards permanent housing. And that really motivated me, and then, of course, eventually motivated me well enough to come work for Family Promise. But I wanted to go over, why is this such a problem? And if you turn in the handout, the second page there, on the right-hand side, since 1960, renters' incomes have only gone up by 5%, where rents have gone up by 61%. Incomes are not in line with the housing cost. Housing costs are going way, way above what our renters can afford. And then that top bullet right there, in Clark County, a renter must earn $34.15 per hour just to afford a one-bedroom, and $38.92 for a two-bedroom, when the average renters wages are only $29.51. On average, all renters' income is $29. So on average, all of our renters in Clark County really can't even afford a one-bedroom. And that's not even considering the fact that most of our families that we work with, their incomes, when we help them and we help them get into employment, get back on track, they're going into jobs working at like $19 an hour. So it becomes such a challenge. And then some of the statistics for nationally, there's for every 10 extremely low-income households, there's only 3 affordable rentals. So the supply, when we have a family that we're digging in with and we're helping them, when you guys are providing the love and the care here at the church, when they come to the day center, they are receiving intense case management. We do a case management plan that if they follow those steps, they will be able to be back into housing. We have sustainability built into everything that we do. So one of the things I noticed when I was at the Portland Rescue Mission, there was a lot of emphasis on giving services, giving things. And I like to say, yeah, that's absolutely needed. My heart's definitely for those individuals that need those. However, sustainability is built into everything that we do at Family Promise. So it creates an opportunity for permanent housing. It drives the families to go towards that direction just by the simple structure of what we do. On that last page there, when people call into our intake coordinator, we have to kind of filter through all of their issues and try to find the right program for them. I like to say there's a square, a circle, triangle, and a star, and that we need to put the square in the square hole and the circle in the circle hole, and not put the square in the circle hole. So when they might need help with prevention. Well, this last year in 2025, we actually have prevented 112 families from becoming homeless. That's so much more economical than them. I mean, they have an eviction letter. They're going to be kicked out. They need financial help. So we help with $1,000 to help them stay in their place. But we verify their employment. We verify that the ledger from the apartment and that they actually do have an eviction letter. And through that verification, we know that we don't put good money after a bad situation. So we make sure that those individuals that we're going to give a check to, their apartment, is actually going to be able to sustain there, be there, and keep them housed, prevent them from becoming unhoused. And then we have a shelter diversion also, where we have families that are working, they're living in their car or potentially in hotels or doubled up somewhere, which a lot of times when they're doubled up, they're not in a safe situation. It's not a good situation. But when they are working, in order to get into a place, that's first, last, and deposit. That's thousands of dollars. So we help with up to $2,000 worth of diversion to help with first, last, and deposit. It's a hurdle to get them into housing once they have to get back into a place. And as long as they are employed and they're going to be able to pay the next month, then that's an opportunity for us to come in and get them somewhere with the idea that that's going to lead them to permanent housing. And then, of course, you guys know all about our shelter program. I hope you guys do. It's a great opportunity to volunteer when we bring them here. And that shelter program, really, we're giving them the opportunity to take a deep breath. The bottom tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is being taken care of, and we can start working on some of the case management plan to get them into a place. So you guys provide that love and care here at night, and then during the day they are working on their case management plans. And then stabilization, that just goes into the idea that we're trying to get them stable enough. And the rotational shelter, it's pretty structured. Pick up at 5 o'clock at night, pick up at 6:30 in the morning, every single day while they're in the program. Our average time in our programs, 54 days. So we're doing a really good job of getting them housed. And we've been able to help, so far this year, 13 families in our rotational shelter. And then, yes, of course, getting them into housing, but also keeping them in housing. So after we get them into housing, we're doing check-ins with them to make sure they're still good to go. And make sure that even if we bring them in to get them to where they're self-sufficient in housing, they're still living in poverty. They're still one paycheck away from potentially being in trouble again. So when we touch base with them and say, hey, are you utilizing the local food banks? Are you utilizing any other resources that we can put your way to make sure that you can stay housed and just help and support? So often they just don't have that support system that's in place for them to be successful. So just as an update, in last year, we started a 3-year strategic plan to help 100 families last year. We helped 102 families last year. And then this year we said it's not enough. We're going to help 150 families. 2 days ago, we just got to 150 families. And next year, we still say it's not enough. It's not. Next year, we want to help 200 families. And we want to continue to grow because for us, we feel, as much as I have a heart for individuals that are experiencing homelessness, I believe a child under the age of 18 they are the most vulnerable in our community. They don't have a say in what their parents' decisions are or how much work they can't do enough work to get themselves into a safe, warm place. So for us, even if we're helping at 150, we're only able to help about 10% of the families that are reaching out. So we want to just continue to grow by leaps and bounds to be that stable place for all families in our community. I believe that family homelessness can be reduced down to where it is what was it called? A zero? Functional zero. There's no reason, and we believe in a community-based response. So partnering with all the community partners and all the people, it's a community problem, but the solution is possible through the community coming together.
Thank you so much. Will you join me in thanking Shane and Natalie and Marcy once more for their time? And wonderful. Thank you, ladies. We have just a couple logistics, and it's about